Welcome back to Man vs Film. It is April 2020 and we are in the brink of a coronavirus outbreak. So we're stuck inside. What else are we going to do? I'm going to give you 10 films to check out this month on Netflix. I hope you find something there that you're going to love, or a movie that you really enjoy that takes your mind off everything that's going on. Let's get started. Number 10, Straight Outta Compton. 1987, 5 young men using brutally honest rhymes and hardcore beats put their frustration and anger about life in the most dangerous place in America into the most powerful weapon they had, their music. Taking us back to where it all began, Straight Outta Compton tells the story of how these cultural rebels, armed only with their lyrics, swagger, bravado and raw talent, stood up to the authorities. Straight Outta Compton is a wonderful biopic that feels very different from the norm. It covers a band that's not normally tackled in these kind of movies. It's got great performances from all the actors, and as a fan of that band and that music, I found a lot here to love. A lot of story that I didn't really know too much about, and it is really insightful and really just entertaining. Even if you've never heard of the band or are not a fan of the music, it's still a worthwhile story because it tells, it paints a picture of a time, a place expertly well, and just gives you a look back to the way things were at that time and how they have or haven't really changed. Number 9, Pacific Rim, Uprising. It's been 10 years since the world was attacked by creatures from another dimension. The creatures were only defeated due to the introduction of Jaegers, massive fighting machines, and the bravery and self-sacrifice of one man, Stacker Pentecost. Now his son Jake is a Jaeger training instructor and finds the fame of his father hard to live up to. Moreover, Earth's peace is about to be shattered as someone is out to unseal the breach and allow the creatures back in. I really didn't fancy seeing Pacific Rim in the cinema when it came out. I enjoyed the first one for what it was. I had no interest in really following the story without Guillermo del Toro at the helm. I eventually put this on because it appeared on Netflix and it was completely fun and ultimately forgettable at the same time as well. It's one of those movies that you can half pay attention to, tune in and out of the fun parts, roll your eyes at the silliness that goes on, but ultimately it's just kind of fun, mindless entertainment that will pass some time and ultimately escape the brain as soon as you're finished. Number 8, TONYA. In 1991, talented figure skater Tonya Harding becomes the first American woman to complete a triple axel during a competition. In 1994, her world comes crashing down when her ex-husband conspires to injure Nancy Kerrigan, a fellow Olympic hopeful. Margot Robbie is fantastic and there's really brutally honest take on this tale. And what I like most about that is it gives you certain viewpoints of certain situations. So say there's an argument going on that Tonya is telling us about, it'll jump to the other person's perspective and shows that as well. It doesn't stick by just one person's point of view, and I really like it when movies do that, and it doesn't really paint a fun-loving picture of this character who ultimately just led to her own self-destruction. Number 7, The Post. In 1971, the New York Times has access to the classified documents about the Vietnam War. However, the government uses the Justice Department to stop the distribution of newspaper, claiming violation national security laws. Immediately after, the Washington Post has access to similar documents, but they decide to face the government and publish the newspapers against the will of their lawyers and investors. You've got Steven Spielberg. With the size and talent of cast that he has, it makes it worthwhile checking out. You need to see it, and although you kind of know where this true story is headed, it's still fun watching it get there. And there are even points where, because of the power of the acting, you're not sure they're going to make the right decision. It is tense, it's suspenseful, it lets you into something I didn't really know too much about, but was found it really insightful and really kind of pertinent as well. Number 6, It. When young children in the little town Derry, Maine goes missing, a group of 7 kids find out that the killer is not a man. The killer is the evil clown Pennywise, who can shapeshift into the thing you are most afraid of. The kids also known as the Losers Club, decide to fight and kill it. But how can you fight something who knows all your biggest fears? It was a fantastic adaptation of the source material, really capturing these kids and their camaraderie as they come together because they're kind of social outcasts but find a warm family environment in amongst their presence, and as they realise there is something heinous stalking their town, they decide to do something about it. And there is real weight on this because you see the horrible things that the evil entity in the movie does to other kids, and you fear for their safety, and you're with them along in this wonderful journey. And although there is a second part to this, it's not essential. You can take this movie as it is and still enjoy it for the fantastic film that it is. Number 5, Spencer Confidential. In Boston, the former police officer Spencer is sentenced to 5 years in prison after beating his dirty Captain Boylan. On the day that Spencer is released, Captain Boylan and an honest police officer that was Spencer's friend are murdered. Spencer decides to investigate and teams up with his roommate, Hawk, that lives in his house with his landlord and friend, Henry. Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg are just a great partnership, and with him directing and Wahlberg starring, it just makes a fun movie. And it doesn't proclaim to be anything other than that. It is a fun kind of detective throwaway movie as you have these two mismatched pairing, the kind of buddy cop kind of thing, going after the bad guys. You don't really need much more than that because it's charming, it's funny, it's easy to watch, it's easy to recommend because it's just so much fun. I really liked Spencer Confidential, and I'm hoping that we're going to get sequels later on down the line. Number 4, The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. Holmes and Dr. Watson take on the case of a beautiful woman whose husband has vanished. The investigation proves strange indeed, involving 6 missing midgets, villainous monks, a Scottish castle, the Loch Ness Monster, and covert naval experiments. Can the sleuths make sense of all this and solve the mystery? When you have a director and screenwriter as good as Billy Wilder, you have to sit up and pay attention, especially when he tackles the monumentous figure of Sherlock Holmes, a character that I am extremely fond of and I love to check out all iterations. This is a great movie with a fantastic pairing of Holmes and Watson and the adventures that they go on. It's a little mismatch because it wasn't the complete movie the director intended, but it's still exceedingly fun, engaging, laugh out loud funny at moments, and I just love the pairing of these two actors in these iconic roles and the way they just bounce off each other. Number 3, A Quiet Place. The world has been invaded by fearsome, murderous creatures that are totally blind and sense humans via sound. A family has managed to escape the creatures and have survived for over a year on an isolated farm. However, the creatures appear to have located their hideout. A Quiet Place is a phenomenal horror movie. The way it sets it up is unlike most others. You get a good prolonged 45 minutes of the family just surviving, and they really strip out all the sound, making even the littlest noise amplified, and it just creates this budding tension. And then just as you feel that you can't take any more, the monsters are unleashed for the last half and the tension just ramps right up. The suspense is there, the horror, the scares. You are genuinely afraid for this family, and it just paints a wonderful movie that I just cannot recommend highly enough. It's just a real shame that we didn't get the sequel because of this whole thing that's going on just now. Number 2, Apollo 11. On its 50th anniversary, the events surrounding the actual Apollo 11 space mission are presented solely using archival footage and still photographs of or associated with the mission. The events span from the 11th hour preparations for the launch to shortly after the safe touchdown of the capsule with its 3 astronauts back on Earth. This is a wonderful documentary because it strips out any kind of filmmaker voice and just gives you the facts. It shows you this great narrative through archival information and just paints exactly what it was, from all the people that took to get this thing going to the ginormous state of this effort that went into this. And it's stunning to watch. It is a beautiful movie showing you a side of this iconic iconic and legendary thing that you've never seen before. It's one of those ones that you just put on and it just, wow, your jaw drops and you're just encapsulated into this wonderful tale that doesn't really seem to have any kind of characters or narrative. It's just wonderful. Number 1, the platform. In a large tower-style prison where the inmates are fed by means of a platform that gradually descends the levels of the tower. Ostensibly a fair system if each inmate takes only their fair share of food, but deeply inequitable in practice as inmates at the top levels have the ability to take as much more food and leave less for those below them. I thought The Platform was a fantastic genre movie. It's a mix of Snowpiercer and Cube, and it's just so well set up in the genre sensibility. Now, its thematics are heavy and laid on thick, and they're not hidden below the surface, but they just top it off with all these wonderful genre elements, crazy action, blood, guts and gore on top of this. It's just a fantastic Netflix movie. So there we have it. 10 movies to keep you busy this April. I hope you find something there that you want to check out. And if you have any recommendations for me, let me know in the comment box below. See you next time.